All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, what a difference a year makes. But we are here this evening, and we have a very esteemed group up front and a few video presentations from those that cannot make it here this evening. But we appreciate everybody coming out for this special event. Before we get started, we'd like to recognize a couple of people here. We can recommend all of you that you come back again next year for another Varsity Hall of Fame banquet. Board of Trustees members that are here this evening. Chair Al Baker and his wife Beverly. And board member Burdell Jackson. Thank you very much for attending. Well, in today's world of information overload and statistical saturation, sometimes it can be difficult to keep things straight. But can you stop and remember, if you can, where you were and what you were doing 20 years ago? 2 decades. Does 2001 seem like a distant memory or the blink of an eye? There's an old phrase, and it applies especially in the sports world. The days are long, but the seasons are short. I know he would like to be here this evening, but in just under 3 months, on January 22nd, it will mark 20 years of service and hard work to the University of Toledo by the gentleman you're about to hear from. Whether it's success on the field, the court, or just as important in the classroom, he beams when he talks about the University of Toledo, and rightfully so. We have a video presentation from Vice President and Athletic Director Mike O'Brien.
Good evening and welcome to the Varsity Tea event. I wish I could be with you tonight. I'm with you in spirit. Unfortunately, due to a recent accident, I can't be there, but this is always one of the best nights of the year, and I know all of us really enjoy this event. First of all, I want to thank all of you for attending, but I want to thank the Varsity Tea. This group has been incredibly supportive of our Rocket Nation, of our Rocket family for decades, and cannot thank them enough. There are folks in the audience tonight that are on the Varsity Tea board. Want to thank them for their involvement and obviously their attendance tonight. And as always, we've always recognized those that have been inducted into our Varsity Tea Hall of Fame. I know some of you are in the crowd tonight as well. So welcome back, and we're so glad that all of you are here. But tonight's about our new class. It's, you know, every year we have this incredible group of people that are inducted, and this year's clearly no different. And so I want to recognize our 7 inductees by name, and Kate, and Jeremiah, and Greg, and Jessica, and John, and Chris, and Enma. You're a part of a special group of people now. You are forever in Rocket's lore, and are forever part of our family. And to be inducted into a Hall of Fame is incredible. It's an incredible honor, and it just speaks to these 7 individuals as to what they did here as Rockets, but what they've done throughout their lives, and nothing but first-class representatives of our university, and really want to congratulate them on behalf of all Rockets everywhere. And again, have a wonderful evening, and as always, go Rockets.
Well, up next, the University of Toledo offers 16 different sports programs, hundreds of students, athletes proudly representing the Midnight Blue and Gold. But once they graduate, they become ambassadors off campus, across the city, across the state, nationally, even internationally. I'm not joking. I was in New York, LaGuardia Airport. I was wearing some UT gear, and I heard a lady from probably 8 concourses over yell, TOL. I couldn't see her at all, but clearly she saw me. And at that moment, it hit me. Rocket Nation spreads its legs very far. Just because you graduate doesn't mean you stop being a Rocket. The Varsity Tea Club is for all former letter winners, thousands of potential relationships, one excellent support system. It's my pleasure to introduce the Varsity Tea Club and Hall of Fame President, Brent Reed.
Okay, I want to first of all thank everyone for coming this evening to support and celebrate these well-deserving inductees. We appreciate the sacrifices that you made to be here tonight. I know that people have come from all over the United States. Varsity T Club, Athletic Department, and University are proud to present these 7 inductees that all have very impressive resumes. The selection committee each year struggles with choosing from a long list of deserving players, coaches, and support staff, and this year's no exception. But I think you'll see and hear why these inductees were chosen. What I'd like to do is just name our board members just so you're familiar with them. Some of them are here tonight. Denny Tobias, Jeff Heppenstall, Amy Galvin, Dave Bruns, Janine Hull, Brad Rieger, Yolanda Swain Richardson, and Craig Thames. I also want to mention the Hall of Fame members that are attending here tonight that are here. Aaron Bivens. Aaron, you around? Aaron Bivens. Lurley Archambault. John Schneider. Steve Mix. Curtis Johnson. Bill Hayes. And Al Baker. Thanks for being here tonight. The Varsity T Club would like to thank the athletic department, especially Mike O'Brien, Dave Notke, Josh Dittman, Zane Collier, and their staff for all their hard work in organizing this event. I also want to thank the Hilton Garden Inn for their hospitality. Lastly, I'd like to thank my wife of 37 years, Maggie, who is kind of behind the scenes, but she's always there to help out, and also for putting up with me. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Brent Belbinot to get us started. Thank you.
Maggie, we know he's poor boy in it. You really do more. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Well, supporting Rocket Athletics and the University of Toledo can and does come in many different forms. There are countless people who often do not receive the spotlight, but are also invaluable. Tonight, we like to honor 3 individuals and give them a little spotlight. Will the following gentlemen please step to the stage and be recognized? Dan Savick. Mike Bell. And Jeff Heppenstall. Dan Savick retired in 2020 as the U of Toledo's Vice President for Alumni Relations after serving his alma mater for 30 years. The University of Toledo was part of Dan's life longer than that, first as a student and then as an employee at the institution he loves. Dan received his bachelor's degree from UT in 1984 and his master's degree in 1989. In 1990, he joined the U Toledo staff as an assistant director of alumni relations. Then just 3 years later, promoted to executive director of alumni relations. He left the university in 1999 but returned to campus in 2002 as associate vice president of alumni relations, where he stayed until his retirement last year. Dan has been a consistent advocate for Rocket Athletics, organizing countless alumni events at UT athletic contests and campus and around the country. Dan, well done. Almost feel like Monty Hall here. I'm going to come to you. Well done, sir. Any memory stand out to you amongst others?
You know, I think the nicest thing about this is, and I know this is true of all of us here in this room, the university's been very special to all of us. I feel so grateful, so many friendships, so many relationships, people that I worked with who have become dear friends, alumni who have become dear friends, and we all have that one common bond, and that's the University of Toledo. And I'm so very, very grateful for all the friendships and the relationships and how much it's meant to our family.
Anyone you'd like to thank here this evening?
Well, it's obviously, we literally have the alumni staff is here tonight, and I'm so grateful, and my wife, obviously, Diane, and I have to share a story here. It's not related to this, but the awardees are fantastic, but I'm especially pleased that John Rudley is joining this class. John And I have to tell you, when I was a little boy, John Rudley was my idol. He was the very first athlete. I saw him and I thought, I didn't know what a point guard was. They didn't have point guards back then. But he was just a court general. He could make the passes. He could play defense. He ran the game like the best, and the best I've ever seen. And when I was a little boy, and we played basketball in the yard for 3 or 4 years, I was always John Rudley. And it is so heartwarming. And you know, when you get older, sometimes when you get to meet your idols, you're disappointed. He exceeded everything that I could ever expect from a human being, and I'm proud to call you a friend. I'm grateful. Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
Well done, sir. Thank you.
Exceeding expectations, that maybe could be the theme of tonight's banquet. Up next, styling over there, sir, Mike Bell. He doesn't think so. He is he not? Again, a former Rocket football player who has gone on to serve the city of Toledo as both chief of the Toledo Fire Department, 16 years, and as the city's mayor from 2009 through 13. He played for the Rockets in the 1970s, earning letters in 1974, 75, and 76. He became the city's first African-American fire department chief, as well as the youngest ever with his appointment in 1990. He has been an ardent supporter of the University of Toledo and the athletic department his entire life, and often promoted the university and the Rockets while he was mayor. Congratulations, sir. Step forward, make it easier on all of us. Come on up. You got big shoes to fill after that first one. Anything stand out to you? Any memory, any moment, any person?
I'm going to do exactly what Dan just did. One of the memories that I have when I was about 12, 13 years old was John Rudley coming to our house for dinner. And there were 4 boys, and we were just amazed at being able to see this star basketball player is actually sitting down eating sweet potatoes and chicken and greens with us. And it was just the most amazing thing, but because of that, he changed probably the direction of 4 young boys with his efforts. So not only, and I think this is what this is about, not only did he do it on the court, but he also did it, with little young men who were trying to figure out what they needed to be able to do. So I want to thank you, just like Dan did, for being an idol for us when we were young kids.
You get a standing O as well, sir. Anyone you'd like to thank this evening?
I'd like to thank my parents, my friend Karen. All of them are Rockets. Could not do it without the support of what they've done for me in the last 20 years of my life. So I would not be here and being able to be as strong as I am if I didn't have a support team. And I have them and the rest of my family members who always are there to help me. So
congratulations.
thank you.
We saved him for last, but we know he's the best, right? Jeff Heppenstall played football for the Rockets from 1974 through 1977. He's been an active member of the Varsity T Club for several years. His work as a board member was critical in the building of the Varsity T Pavilion. He's also served on the Varsity T Hall of Fame committee for over 20 years and is the executive director of the Downtown Coaches Association. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Heppenstall. I'm going to go backwards. Anyone here that you would like to thank this evening?
Yeah, I have my wife Becky here and my son Eric.
Well, any particular memory, moment, or person that stands out for you?
Well, I didn't really want to go too much in my athletic career. I'd rather just talk a little bit about afterwards. You know, I felt like I wanted to do some service for the athletic department because it was so good to me. I was very appreciative of all the people that supported me when I was playing and my teammates and things like that. The university did a lot for me. I got a good education, had some very good classmates and teammates that are out there. And so that part, I'm just very appreciative, and I'm glad that I could give something back to them.
Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, again, our special award winners this evening. All right, Cody, are we ready? Am I getting the thumbs up? Time to begin our Hall of Fame inductees program. Our first inductee tonight is Kate Bean McCauley. Kate is all over the Toledo volleyball record book, ranking first in career attacks, second in kills and service aces, third in kills per set, and fifth in digs. She also ranks fourth for most kills in a season with 435, and her 39 digs versus Ball State as a senior are the most ever by a Rocket in a single match. A native of Louisville, Kate made the MAC All-Tournament team in 2005 as she led the Rockets to the semifinals for the first time in school history. She is the only Rocket volleyball player to be named to the COSIDA Academic All-America First Team, earning those honors in both 2005 and 2006. She is also one of only 2 Rockets in any sport to be a member of the first team on more than one occasion. Kate was also a 3-time Academic All-MAC team selection and a 3-time Academic All-District pick. Kate graduated from Toledo with a 3.978 grade point average in community health. She then entered an accelerated nursing program at Bellarmine University in Louisville, Kentucky, where she received her Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree. She is currently an assistant nurse manager in a neonatal intensive care unit in Louisville, where she lives with her husband and 2 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kate Bean McCauley into the University of Toledo Varsity T Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Come right here. Well deserved. Let's start with your support group. They're very vocal. Who would you like to thank this evening?
Well, obviously, I have some of my former teammates here with me. Jessica Alden Bilius, Kelsey Culver Ner, I can't say your new last name. And then Emily Holskull. They all played with me while I was here. And then I have my mother and my sister Valerie, and my husband George, and my daughter Clara, and my new 3-week-old baby Emmett.
In about, another 18 years, another scholarship athlete here at the University of Toledo, correct?
Let's hope so. That's what we're praying for.
All right, we got a legacy here. Mark her down. Let's go ahead and talk about, we can take 2 different angles here because you obviously had tremendous academic success here, but I want to save that for what you did on the court. Basically, we mentioned how many records you set. Did you realize what you were doing at the time, or when did that sink in? Were you just out doing the best you could, being the best teammate you could?
Yeah, that was never a goal of mine to go set records. I just wanted to go and be the best teammate and volleyball player that I could, and that was just something that happened, I feel like, along the way.
Does everybody else besides me here notice just a little bit of a drawl? It's just south of the Mason-Dixon line. Still got a little Louisville in you. Yep. What stands out for you? Any particular moment, any particular memory, any particular match?
Well, in general, I just remember just how much fun we had. I mean, from jamming out to Michael Jackson and pregame, or Ashley Simpson in the locker room or something.
Not dating herself at all with those 2 musical choices, is she?
And then just being able to travel over, playing the sport you love with your friends, like nothing can beat that. So it was just, we had a lot of fun. And match-wise, I would say my junior and senior years, when we were underdogs in the MAC tournament and we made it to the semifinals both of those years, and especially my senior year, we beat Central Michigan in 5 sets on my block was the game winner, and that was probably one of the best moments, of my life. So you always remember that.
Let's rewind just a little bit, because your recruiting process was interesting. And as she was telling me before we started the evening's events, you had narrowed it down to Toledo or the College of Charleston. Two very different locations, very different universities. Why Toledo?
It just felt like home here when I came here, and it was really the people that I met. Kelsey was a year older than me. I met her on my recruiting trip. I mean, it felt like a better fit for me. I know everybody was always like, man, you chose Toledo, Ohio versus the beaches of Charleston, and but I cannot be more grateful that I did, and for the friendships that I've gained from it, and just like I said, all the wonderful memories.
The term is student athlete. You have to crack a book. Got to stay eligible to stay in the uniform. Clearly, you took that component very seriously. Two-time academic all-conference. What was your time management like? What was a typical day like for you?
Typical day was get up at 7 a.m., even earlier than that, probably go into the weight room to start lifting first, trekking through the ice and the snow and on the campus, and then go into class from, 8 till, in the afternoon, go into study group, and then go into practice for 2 or 3 hours in the evening, and then you come home and you've got to study for exams. Being a student athlete really teaches you how to be responsible, how to manage your time, and it's prepared me for my life after college and my career and everything. So I think it's a very important thing, and hopefully I can teach my children to do the same exact thing, and that's it.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Our next inductee is Jeremiah J.D. Detmer. A three-time All-MAC selection, J.D. was the 2013 MAC Special Teams Player of the Year. That season, J.D. was a Lou Groza Award semifinalist and made first-team All-MAC, connecting on 19 of 20 field goals and 44 of 45 extra points. J.D. is second on Toledo's all-time field goal list with 65 and seventh all-time among MAC kickers. He's the MAC's all-time leader in field goal percentage and ranks third in points scored in Toledo history with 340. His longest field goal of 52 yards ranks second in UT history. J.D. was named MAC West Division Special Teams Player of the Week 9 times during his career. He ranked number 44 on Toledo's All-Century team, the only kicker on that list. J.D. assumed the Rockets' full-time field goal duties as a sophomore in 2012 and went on to make 17 field goals in a row. He connected on 24 of 29 kicks that season, earning third-team All-MAC honors. His best game in 2012 came in a 29-23 upset over number 18 Cincinnati, in which he hit all 5 of his field goal attempts. As a junior, he extended his consecutive field goal streak to 23, the 5th longest streak in NCAA history at the time. He also ranked second in the nation in field goal percentage at 95%. As a senior co-captain, the Hilliard, Ohio native made second-team All-MAC, connecting on 17 of 22 field goals and nailing 57 of 59 extra points. A 3-time academic All-MAC selection, J.D. was named Academic All-District in 2013. He graduated with a degree in education in 2015. He is currently a part of the Toledo Fire recruit class and will graduate October 29th as a Toledo firefighter. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeremiah Detmer into the University of Toledo Varsity T Hall of Fame. He winced at that last photo. It was a party in the back and business all up front, but I saw a thick beard. Look how clean cut this guy is now. You'd hire him in a heartbeat, wouldn't you?
I don't know about that.
Don't go poor boy in it. Look, your statistics speak for themselves, and on the video, we heard that. 17 in a row. You take a look at what you had done. Lou Groza, semifinalist. We're talking the nation here. I've talked with a lot of kickers, and some will talk about their mental approach versus their mechanics. For you, was one maybe more important than the other? What was your approach? How did you practice?
That's a good question. Man, I had really, really good teammates. And I think anybody who's ever had success in something had a little bit of luck, or maybe a lot of luck. And I think it was a mix of having some really, really good teammates and having some lucky kicks and some lucky things go my way. So I didn't focus a lot on things that were outside of my control. I relied on good coaches and good teammates and a little bit of luck, and somehow I ended up here. So,
Now, I think you're poor boy in it just a little bit. I remember the old NFL standout wide receiver Raymond Berry. He called luck the intersection, or when preparation and opportunity cross paths. When you are ready for that, you still have to be prepared mentally. The life of a kicker can be very, very lonely. What was your preparation before you went out to kick, especially in high-pressure moments?
yeah, I think about, we played Western Michigan my senior year, and it was pouring down rain. We needed to win this game to have a chance to go to the MAC championship game. We somehow got into field goal range, and we were down by 3. And last-second field goal, there's no glory in that kick, right? So if I miss it, we lose. And if I make it, we go into overtime. So it's not really – you want to kick a field goal where you're going to win a game. And I remember walking out on the field, and again, my teammates, we had practiced that same last-second kick 1,000 times. Every Thursday, we practiced that same kick. And to me, I think in my career, I had learned that whether it was at Western Michigan to win a game, or whether it was at practice, or whether no one was paying attention, they were all the same. Every kick was the same. So it wasn't a big deal. And that's kind of how I approached my career and approached kicking. It didn't matter whether there were 100,000 fans at the OSU game or whether we were at practice in the middle of the summer. I had a job to do, and the job was the same. So
That sounds like your mental preparation. From a physical standpoint, I've talked with lots of kickers, and they say the same thing almost to a man, whether it's an extra point or a 50-yard attempt, every kick is the same. Do you agree with that?
every kick's the same. Yeah, you can't change it up. So, yeah, I don't know if there's a great answer. You might change the way you kick based on weather conditions, but yeah, every kick is the same. You try to kick the same ball. You try to do things the same way over and over and over, and I think that is part of the kicking job that is unique, maybe similar to a few other positions in other sports, that your only job is to do the same thing and the right thing every single time. And there aren't a whole lot of elements that change that, so yeah.
Same question I was asking earlier, your road to Toledo. It's got to be a good fit. Just because a coach or a coaching staff wants you, you need to feel the same. Take us through what your recruiting process was like and why you decided UT was the place you wanted to be.
Yeah, so I don't think I had a lot of interest out of high school from a ton of teams. I know Illinois and Toledo were my two choices. And then Toledo kind of took the lead on that, and they had given me an offer first. And I just liked the people here. I liked the team and the teammates who were here. And it just felt right. And I took a shot. They took a shot on me, and so I wanted to reciprocate that. And I'm glad that I ended up here. I know the coaching staff who recruited me then ended up going to Illinois, and so it worked out in my favor to be here. And so, yeah, the people here and for Toledo taking a shot on me. So,
The academic part of it, as you may have noticed in his video there, two-time all-conference. You've got to have something once you hang up your uniform. The career comes to an end eventually, no matter what the athlete sport is, who they are. What was your approach to academics?
oh, man. I was probably one of the few people who did better in college than I did in high school. I don't know. I was not a great student in high school. I felt like I didn't have enough time to study and enough time to prepare for class, that if I didn't do my homework and didn't study in the 1 hour of the day that I had, that I was going to completely fail and never be able to play at all. So I ended up studying more than I ever did in high school and ended up just doing better for that sake. I never felt like I was good at school. I just tried to get my work done and do the homework and sneak in some extra credit if they offered it. So, yeah.
Post-playing, and as we've heard, Interesting major, interesting career choice. Walk us through post-graduation.
Yeah, post-graduation football, the NFL is called the Not for Long League, so I didn't do that for very long. And then I moved on, came back up to Toledo and took a job with a high school ministry and worked for about 4 years with that in the city in Toledo and loved every minute of it. And then just recently spent the last 6 months in the Toledo Fire Academy and will graduate next Friday here in the city as a firefighter. So,
And yes, absolutely. Anything else that we haven't mentioned that we should?
my beautiful wife is here, Gretchen. We got married 11 months ago. It was a COVID wedding, so thank you for dealing with me. That's all I got. Yeah, no. It's an honor. I read the names and have known many of the people on this list, so it's a true honor to be here. So.
And you've earned it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next inductee is Greg Mance. A three-time All-MAC selection, Greg won the Vern Smith Award as the top player in the Mid-American Conference in 2014, the only offensive lineman ever to earn that honor. Greg was a four-year starter on Rocket teams that went 34-17, won 2 Division co-championships, and 2 bowl games. In his first season in 2011, Greg was named a freshman All-American by Yahoo Sports and by Phil Steele magazine. He was a key part of an offense that ranked 8th in the nation and 1st in the MAC in scoring, and 10th in the nation and 1st in the conference in total offense. Toledo's offensive line also ranked tied for 6th in the nation that season and 1st in the MAC in fewest sacks allowed. Greg went on to make 3rd-team All-MAC as a sophomore and 2nd-team All-League as a junior. In his junior season, the Rocket offensive line allowed just 6 sacks in 12 games, the fewest in the country. Greg earned first-team All-MAC honors in 2014 for a Rocket offense that ranked number 1 in the MAC in total offense and in rushing offense. He was named the second-team All-American by the Football Writers Association of America, becoming the first Toledo offensive lineman to make either first or second-team All-America on one of the 5 major All-America teams since Dan Vukovic made the Associated Press's first team back in 1938. A 4-time academic All-MAC pick, Greg spent his first 6 seasons in the NFL with the Houston Texans and currently plays for the Miami Dolphins. Greg ranked number 36 on Toledo's All-Century team that was released in 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Greg Mance into the University of Toledo Varsity T Hall of Fame.
Hey y'all, Greg Mance here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make the Hall of Fame ceremony in person, so I was told to make a video. So first thing I'd like to do is say thank you to the university. It's obviously an incredible honor to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. Some other people I'd really like to thank. First, I'd like to thank my mom. You gave up so much of your own freedoms and enjoyments in life just to sort of raise me and my sister. If you're there, hi, by the way. You know, you're out there probably accepting the honor for me. So I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done. I love you. To my sister, thank you as well. You put up with me. You dealt with all the sports. Thank you. My Pee Wee football coach, Jim Hay, taught me to love football the right way. Thank you. To all my high school coaches, you guys taught me how to watch film, how to love the game, how to do it the right way, and sort of how to be a better human as well, so thank you. It gets me to college. I guess the first coach I should thank is Jay Nick. I never actually played for you, Coach, but you were the one who saw something in that high school kid from Anderson High School that no one else seemed to see in all of college sports. So thank you for bringing the film to the next 2 guys who probably I consider more father figures than even coaches, but Coach Matt Campbell and Coach Tom Manning. You guys did so much for me, before, during, and even after football. I really appreciate our relationship that we have now. Coach Candle, I know you're there. Thank you, for being a wide receiver coach where, quite frankly, we didn't have very much in common. So when you became the head coach, we've developed quite a relationship. Thank you. You even helped me this year when I was trying to get a job in Baltimore. So thank you for that. Coach Nate Cole, I know you're just Nate back when I knew you, but I don't think I could ever properly express how much I appreciate what you did when you were a senior. You taught us to have fun, you taught us to work hard, you taught us to play with heart, but more importantly, you taught us all how to be ourselves. And I know now you're a running back coach, so you're not really yourself anymore because you're no longer an O-lineman, but thank you. I'd like to thank all my roommates I had over the years, Jeff, Josh, Rosie, Dwight, Reedy, Colby, Rob, and Jace. I think part of the reason Toledo was so special for me wasn't necessarily because of the singular moments as it was sort of the collection of all the time. And you guys were the guys who unfortunately were stuck living with me. So thank you to you guys. I have plenty of other teammates I can think of who I'd like to thank individually, but I could go on all day. I do want to send a special shout out to Jabo. Jabo always hooking me up with the gear. Appreciate you. I'm rocking it right now. I was told, maybe to think of a story or something along those lines, and it's hard, to encapsulate 5 years of great memories into a story. So I'll say a few. My favorite football memory was when the Cincinnati Bearcats came into the Glass Bowl. They were ranked, they were undefeated. Munchie Legoo was a quarterback. And, the defense may have had the only touchdown of the game, but the Rockets got the win at the end of the day. And that's really the only thing that matters. So, the fans stormed the field. We were high-fiving with fans, having a great time. And it's probably one of my favorite memories of college football. It was a really neat experience. But honestly, for me, necessarily, because I never got the MAC championship, it wasn't a game that meant the most to me. It was the other things. It was, the walks as freshmen to the weight room where we're all screwing around. It was Coach Cullup, the women's basketball team, winning the WNIT. We were on the court there. We were having a great time. I remember Ben Pike, Hank Keekhley. We were all having a great time together. It was later on, after games, we're sitting around with parents and we're sitting by bonfires and telling stories and hanging out and playing cornhole. And just really what the most amazing part of Toledo was to me wasn't that I had all these great teammates. It's that I had all these brothers. And, through weddings, kids, I know I have a few more weddings. I'm looking at you, Zach, and I'm looking at you, Hank. But I've been to so many weddings and seen so many great people move on to do so many great things. And I think the most impressive part of it all is that in 20 years when we all sit down and have, a couple drinks or go to a tailgate or have our 25-year reunion, no time will have passed between us. And that's something that I think is truly special and something that I have experienced from other NFL teams that not all colleges have. So I'm thankful to all of you guys. I'm thankful for the university for providing those times. And I'm thankful to be a Rocket for life. So go Rockets.
Greg was right. His mother is here this evening. And accepting on his behalf, please welcome Mary Beth Fearing. She said she would say a couple words. Just a couple. First thing that strikes me in watching his video there is two things: how humble he is, and I would say perspective. I didn't hear him talk about himself as much as I heard him talk about others. Would you agree? What type of youngster was he?
Well, he was busy. He played every sport down the pike, and he always was aware of the other kids. There was one boy on the street who wasn't as coordinated as the other ones. He always made sure David was part of the crowd. So that's his way. That's always been his way.
Would you call him a leader?
Absolutely.
When he decided to come to the University of Toledo, walk us through how his recruitment went to the time he put his name on the letter of intent.
Well, actually, he had played a game, a playoff game in high school, and one of the boys from the other team sent in a clip for recruitment, and it was a defensive player. And the defensive coaches were looking at it, and they said, well, we're nearly not interested in this young man, but who the heck is he playing against? And so they sent a coach down to his high school to watch, to just get the eyeball check. You talk about the eyeball check. And said, we need to get this kid in camp So he came to camp, and he was one of the few offers that he had. So he met Matt Campbell, and that was the end.
That was the end in a good way, obviously.
And yeah, well, he was not going to play for anybody else. Matt, at that time, was the offensive coordinator, and they had a conversation that I did not understand, and that was the end of it. He said, okay, I know where I'm going now. So
He's been well-traveled, but it sounds like he wouldn't have it any other way. He wouldn't trade it for the world.
oh, no, he loves everything that he does. He loves going. He loves experiencing everything there is out there. So
If he were here, I would ask him this, so I'm going to ask you to somewhat play fortune teller for us. Okay. But when his career is over, everybody hangs up the uniform. What do you envision him doing for the next portion of his career?
I'm not sure about that, but he's getting a lot of pressure from the NFL to coach. So whether or not that happens, I don't know. I think he could do almost anything he wants to. He actually gets offered jobs when he goes to, in Houston especially, he did a lot of community service. And he would be giving a talk, and someone would come up to him and say, hand him their business card and say, when you're finished with this, come and see me, I have a job for you. And it happened so often that we kind of got to laughing about it, but it happened a lot. So who knows?
No question, whatever he chooses, he's going to be successful at it.
He will be, yes.
Congratulations to you both.
Thank you, thank you.
Our next inductee is Jessica Popeil-Stone. Jessica was the MAC Player of the Year and a first-team All-MAC selection as a senior in 1999, compiling a career-best stroke average of 78.7 that year. She also made the MAC All-Tournament team in 1998, a year in which the Rockets won the MAC Invitational Tournament. Jessica was a tournament medalist twice in her career. Additionally, she was named a WGCA All-American Scholar in 1997 and 98. She also won the MAC Presidential Award and the MAC Commissioner's Award as a senior. A 4-year letter winner, Jessica also served as co-captain during her career. Away from the course, she served as vice president of academics of her sorority, Pi Beta Phi, for 2 years, was a member of Leadership UT, a presidential ambassador, and belonged to the Blue Key National Honor Society. After graduation, Jessica competed as a professional golfer on the Futures Golf Tour from 2000 through 2002. She was the first Rocket to compete in an LPGA Tour event, playing in the Jamie Farr Classic in 1999. She's a realtor in Winter Garden, Florida, where she lives with her husband and 3 children. Jessica has also recently regained her amateur status and is looking forward to competing in local golf events. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jessica Popeil-Stone into the University of Toledo Varsity T Hall of Fame.
Well, welcome aboard, Miss All-American.
Thank you very much.
All the other things that you did, I'm almost surprised you had time to golf. It sounds like you were busy from the minute you woke up to the minute you hit the pillow at night.
Yeah, it was a busy time, but I think I get more done when I'm busy.
So walk us through. I'll ask you the same question, but I'll start with you here. How did you arrive at the University of Toledo? Why did you decide the University of Toledo was the place for you?
I think I started exploring the idea of golfing in college. I had started golfing, I didn't start until 8th grade, and kind of continued getting better each year. And it became an option for me later in high school and started looking at opportunities. And when I came to Toledo, it was a new program. I was part of the first class of the first team ever. And meeting the original coach, Claire Batista, that sealed the deal. She was great. There were no other older players to meet. It wasn't an established program, but the things she had to say and what she wanted to do with the program excited me, and it worked out great.
So that's interesting. Let me ask you to expand on that a little bit, because without anything to compare it to, how did you gauge improvement? How did you gauge progress? Was it something that the coaches laid out for you? Was it a personal endeavor, maybe a combination of things?
When we came, it was all Claire and what she was hoping to do for the program. But I also love the university. It's a beautiful campus, and as you know, and there's a lot of opportunities here as a school. And then as our career, there's nothing to compare it to, but she made a great program, and we all got along well throughout the years, and then we had a lot of opportunities to travel. And it was a neat program because I could play right away. I'm from Michigan and looked at Michigan State or other bigger schools, and maybe I would have been redshirted. Here I could play and travel with the team right away, which is a nice opportunity.
All right, now you just included something in there that I hear from a lot of athletes, and it doesn't matter what the sport is. You just mentioned recruited by bigger schools, but When I talk to athletes that sign on at the University of Toledo, they almost always say the same thing. I got on campus and my eyes were wide open in a good way. Did you have a similar experience?
Yeah, it's a beautiful campus, of course. I went into education, and there's a great program for that. And it felt like I was going to fit in here. It wasn't too big, wasn't too small. Good opportunities.
Golf is a very mental game. And while you're a part of a team, the team scores add up, you're on the course by yourself. Which is more of the difficult angle to master, the mental or the physical?
Definitely mental. Golf is definitely a mental game. And I used to listen to a lot of books on tape. I don't think they sell tapes anymore, but I'm reading books as well. It's a very mental game. And we would play an 18-hole practice round on Friday, 36 holes walking on Saturday, and 18 holes on Sunday. And Saturday's round, I mean, I was telling my nephew recently, that's 10 hours of golf. You can't concentrate on anything for 10 hours. So you really have to learn to focus and let your mind go and focus and keep coming back to it. So it is definitely a mental game.
For those of us, and I'll be at the front of that line, let your mind go after you chunk one about 5 yards up the fairway. Your divot goes farther than your ball. But when you don't hit a good shot, it's not like you can call a timeout or TV gives you the opportunity to go to commercial break. You've got to reset and get back after it. We hear about the game slowing down in other sports, football, basketball. Is golf similar? How do you pace yourself through, as you mentioned, almost 12 hours in a day?
Yeah, I don't know if I have an answer to that question. It is mentally draining. You're exhausted after playing either 4-hour, 5-hour round or the 10-hour, 36-hole round, because you have to just keep focusing, and you have to just learn to let those chunks and those bad shots go, which is very difficult. But that's part of the game, and that's part of being successful.
You played professionally. You played at the Jamie Farr Classic. What was that like? Did that hold maybe a little bit of sentimental value for you?
Yeah, I enjoyed playing on the Futures Tour for several years after college, and coming back and playing on the Jamie Farr was very exciting to come back to Toledo, and had some people I knew come watch me. It was actually extra fun. My dad caddied for me one day, and my now husband, boyfriend at the time, caddied for me one day. But to be inside the ropes at an LPGA tournament, well, that was 2 days. I missed the cut. but just to be there and experience that, I mean, that's the level that any golfer dreams of, was really exciting.
Can you relax and just play casually? Can you take your family out? Do you take your family out and just hit the links for fun?
I'm starting to again. I played a little bit. I worked in the golf business, and then I have 3 kids, and life is busy, and definitely took a break. But I got my amateur status back a year ago and joined the Orlando Women's Golf Association. So I'm starting to play. It's fun to have a little competition in that, and play with the family some. We're trying to get our kids involved. It's a tricky game. You got to love it. So we actually played this summer and had my first ever hole-in-one with my husband and my 7-year-old son. So that was fun.
Anybody here? I know there are, that you'd like to acknowledge.
Yeah, well, I've got 4 family members here. My sister came, and she is my older sister, and she played golf at Purdue. So I'm glad that she made the trek from Grand Rapids. My uncle, my dad's youngest brother, is here, and he came with her as well. And then my nephew, my sister's son, he is a freshman at the University of Michigan and on the club golf team. So he came, and then, of course, my husband came up with me from Orlando. So I'm glad it was nice to get a little weekend away from the 3 kids as well. And then I'd love to thank my the original coach. I'll see her tomorrow at the football game, Claire Batista. She couldn't be here tonight. And I got to meet the current golf coach, Jenny. She's here, so it was nice to meet her, and she's doing great things with the program. And I'd love to thank my parents. My dad was my biggest supporter ever, and he was my high school golf coach. He was the coach my freshman year, and he coached until he passed away in 2003, and he would be so proud. And he actually, after I came to Toledo, a couple other girls from Grand Rapids, Michigan came, and several other people from West Michigan, and Claire always thanked him and gave him some Toledo golf balls if she saw him, because he kind of helped feed the program for a few years there. And my mom, she actually has Alzheimer's. She's back in Grand Rapids too, so they gave up a lot for my sister and I to play golf and play other sports as well, and they'd be so proud.
It isn't just golf, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking at the truest definition of a student athlete. Congratulations to you.
Our next inductee is Dr. John Rudley. John was a four-year starter and a key component of perhaps the greatest men's basketball team in Rocket history. A two-time co-captain at point guard, John helped to guide the 1966-67 team to a 23-2 record, a MAC championship title, and an NCAA tournament appearance. He was the team's floor general and primary passer to big scorers like Steve Mix, John Brisker, and Bob Miller. John helped the Rockets put up huge numbers on the scoreboard and likely would have had an equally big assist number if the statistic would have been kept then. A solid scorer himself, he averaged 7.5 points and 3.9 rebounds as a sophomore, 12 points and 4.6 boards as a junior, and 15 points and 4.8 rebounds as a senior captain. John grew up in Benton Harbor, Michigan, where he was a part of back-to-back high school state championship teams in 1964 and 65. The 1965 team is considered by many observers to be one of the greatest prep teams in Michigan history. The Tigers went undefeated and won their games by an average of 33 points, including a 26-point win over Southfield in the state title game. John received his bachelor's degree in business administration from Toledo, then went on to earn his master's degree and PhD in education administration from Tennessee State. He served as the president of Texas Southern University from 2008 to 2016 and currently holds status as president emeritus and distinguished professor of business there. Previously, he served as interim chancellor and president at the University of Houston, as well as vice chancellor for business and finance, also at Houston. Vice Chancellor for Business and Finance at the University of Tennessee Board of Regents, Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance at the University of Tennessee Chattanooga, and Vice President for Fiscal Affairs at Texas Southern. He worked for former Tennessee Governor and Secretary of Education Lamar Alexander at the U.S. Department of Education from 1991 through 1992. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. John Rudley into the University of Toledo Varsity T Hall of Fame.
Strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. A lot to talk about, but I know you wanted to start with those who are here in attendance tonight that you'd like to recognize.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's been 56 years since I've been back here. Well, those of you on the right side, you don't understand that joke. It is 56 years since I played basketball here, but let me say it's a great honor for me, and what a great lead-in from people who knew me when I was 18 years old. Dan, stand up for a minute. That's the greatest thing almost anybody's ever said about me. And Mike Bell, would you stand up, please, Mike? And your father, Mr. Bell, you stand up, Mr. Bell. Thank you so much for being a role model for me. And your wife, stand up, please. I ate your food, and that kept me strong to play basketball at the University of Toledo. So I want to tell you that, I really appreciate you and love all of you for what you did for me the time that I was here. Let me say all along that I've always wanted to be appreciated by my university. Over the years, I hadn't had a chance to do that, but tonight I appreciate the fact that the committee has honored me with this recognition. Brent, Varsity T, thank you so much for this honor. And for all the young inductees tonight, it's good to be inducted with a bunch of young people. Makes me feel a whole lot better. I have an opportunity to thank some people who have come tonight, so I want to start with, and use most of my time to do that. First of all, my wife, Dosha, is here, 46 years. I met her at Michigan State. She just left Shreveport yesterday celebrating her father's 96th birthday. So my wife, Dosha, is here. My son, Jamal Powell Rudley, is here, and he's from Austin, Texas. Stand up, Jamal, so they can see who you are. And my grandson, Kingston. Why don't you stand up, Kingston, let them see who you are. The thing about Jamal is that he played at Seattle University, and Al, his coach was Al Harrison, who played against me at Bowling Green. And he gave my son a scholarship at Seattle University, so it is a small world. I hope that the University of Toledo will recruit my grandson, Kingston. Maybe they won't miss the boat on him. I would also like to thank Curtis Johnson for coming here tonight. Curtis won 2 Super Bowl rings with the Miami Dolphins. Curtis, stand up and let him give you a round of applause. He's a Hall of Famer, too. His wife Tiara is here too. Raise your hand, please. Thank you for coming. 2 Super Bowl rings. That's pretty good. 3 of my closest friends from Benton Harbor are here to celebrate as well with me. Mr. Steve Brewer from Kansas City. Steve, raise your hand. Mr. Guy Huddleston from Ann Arbor, Michigan. And Mr. Robert Dawson from Michigan City, Indiana. And the story here is that they were in high school with me, and when we won the second high school championship, there was a car caravan of 30 miles that escorted us back from Lansing to Benton Harbor, and cars were on both sides of the street. It was one of the best homecomings I've ever seen in my life. We got off the bus. They put us on fire trucks and the marching band, and it was cold as heck, but we didn't mind. And they marched us all the way downtown to the city, and we went to our gym, and so it was a great opportunity for us to experience 2 championships, and I'm so proud of those 2 championships. Now, of course, I thank Coach Bob Nichols for recruiting me. Now, Coach Nichols came to Benton Harbor, Michigan, and I was really working on track. I ran track as well. And one thing that got my attention was that he said that I always asked the coaches. I was recruited by Michigan State and Michigan. You know, if you win the state championship 2 years in a row in Michigan, and you're supposed to be one of the best high school teams in the world, you're going to get a lot of offers. But I asked the coach from Michigan and Western Michigan, if I were to get hurt, would you guarantee my scholarship? I was only 18 years old, but I knew that coming from my background, getting an education was important. And the Michigan coach said, well, you got to earn your scholarship every year. I said, that sounds interesting. Western Michigan's coach said, you know, we want you, but we want 3 other members of the team too, which, you know, that didn't sound like he really wanted me. But Coach Nichols said, I will guarantee your scholarship for 4 years, even if you get hurt. And I signed on the dotted line and came here to the University of Toledo. Now, for those of you who don't know about our success, our freshman team, we were 18-1. And at that time, 56 years ago, freshmen could not play on the varsity team. So you had to just play off other freshman teams around the country. But we were 18 with 1 loss. The next year, when we finally got on the varsity squad, we were 22-2. And we kind of felt that we can beat anybody in the world. And think about this. The freshman team were really good, a good group of 18-year-olds. Calvin Lawshe from Toledo Maycomer was the guard. John Rudley from Benton Harbor, Michigan was the other guard. Bob Miller from Gloversville, New York was the forward. John Brisker from Detroit Hamtramck was the forward, and Steve Mix from Toledo Rogers was our center. I would like to thank Ms. Vicki Lawshe for being here and representing Calvin Lawshe. Thank you, Vicki. I would like to thank Bob Miller, who is here with his wife, Paulette. Please, Paulette, I want you to stand up. She always tries to hide. Stand up for me, just for me, Paulette. Thank you, Paulette. Thank you. And then Steve Mix of the Detroit Pistons, Philadelphia 76ers, the Los Angeles Lakers is here. And Steve, your big brother, Bob Mix, is here too. But more importantly, Mary Alice is here, his wife. So would you all stand up and let us recognize you too? Now, after 20 years of separation, basically when I left the university, I kind of was estranged from the university because we had a situation called, what I call my John Lewis moment, when you had to speak up when you thought something was not right. But after 20 years of separation, Coach Nichols and I did reconcile. And I did it in a fashion that I wanted to honor him. So he came to Houston, and I was the Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance for the University of Houston system, and Final Four was in Houston, and I took him to the most expensive steakhouse in Houston. I said, Coach, I have arrived. This is my town. And we had a great time, and he and Mary Pat were there, so I hope if Coach Nichols' family isn't here tonight, I just want to recognize Nancy, Janie, Mary Pat, and Bob, because they also wrote a letter of support to the committee. So I want you all are any of them here tonight? They said they might come, but just know that I really appreciated the fact that they supported my candidacy. A special thank you to the Honorable Cardi Finkbinder. Now, Finkbinder was an assistant at the time, I don't want to say 56 years ago, but it was a long time ago, when he was a graduate assistant, and he was put in charge of the study hall. We had to go to mandatory study hall. If you had a 2.5, you can get out of study hall. So I didn't have a 2.5. I think it was mandatory for freshmen too. But Cardi was the one that managed the study hall, and that's how we first met. And the thing about that, Lauderber had recruited a lot of rowdy kids from the inner city areas of Cleveland and Dayton, Benton Harbor, Detroit, and he had his hands full trying to get people to go to study hall. Mix, you too. Bob, Big Bob too, both of you. But we encountered Cardi. I must tell you that he made an impression on me back then because he had in his heart principles of, he was ethical. He was listening to us. He was a good listener. And we felt that he really, really understood us. And all of us were from other cities. And Cardi was the person that Frank Lauderber utilized to try to calm this crowd down. But I respected you, Cardi, then, and I respect you now. Thank you, Cardi. Cardi Finkbinder and Vincent Davis led a campaign that resulted in a letter of support for my nomination that was spearheaded on my behalf. Not only did they write a letter of support, I want to thank Bill Hayes for writing a letter, Chuck Ely for writing a letter, Lurley Archambault for writing that letter, and John Snyder. You guys know all the other gentlemen that supported my nomination. I hadn't seen you guys in 56 years either, but thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And Willie Loper is here. Willie Loper. And Big Ron Davis is here. Now, there is what do you call it, the African American legends, sports legends, with all of those members of that with the blue coat. Stand up for a minute, let me see who you are. The blue coat. If you don't have a blue coat on, Bill, stand up anyway. My 92-year-old father-in-law, Cortland Malloy, a scholarly man who earned degrees from Tuskegee and the University of Minnesota in journalism, he even wrote a letter on behalf of his son-in-law. That tells you my father-in-law really liked me. And when you're away from home, as we were, I know I was looking for a band of brothers who were role models and provide a support system for me. And I had them at Carter Hall East, but I had another set of brothers these guys were all good looking, all right? They were all smart. They were all role models. And Burdell Jackson was one of the best looking ones, the smartest one. Burdell, stand up over there. He's a board trustee to this day. People like Jeff Rollins and my fraternity brothers are here. And so what they did, the Bowling Green chapter got together with the Toledo chapter, and they decided to support me tonight. And I want to recognize those guys. They have 3 tables over here. And table 1, Omega Epsilon, George Miller, Derek Collins, Alan Settles, George Hinton, Tracy Thomas, and Leon Flanagan. You all here? Raise your hands. There you are. Table 2, Zytar and the 1960s brothers, Burdell Jackson, Craig Polite, Alan Bannister, Vince Davis, Marcus Sneed, Jeff Rollins, Julian Highsmith, and the guest of theirs is Lee Calhoun. Would you guys raise your hand and be recognized? And table 3, Zytar and Omega Epsilon brothers. Now this is interesting because Bowling Green and Toledo are actually working on something together. Have you ever heard of anything like that before? They actually are. And so this is what this is representing tonight. So the Xytar and Omega Epsilon brothers, Reginald Temple, David Menifee, Rod Spencer, Eldon Payne, Keith Jordan, Leon Flanagan, Tommy Johnson, and Harold Stevenson. Raise your hands. I want a special recognition to Dr. Craig Polite again. He's the brother who went over with me when I pledged. And get this, he majored in psychology, and he is a psychologist today. So when I stopped being president of Texas Southern and all these high jobs, I was depressed, and I got free advice from Craig. I could call him in Connecticut. Craig advises professional athletes in New York, and thank you, Craig. I appreciate you not sending me a bill on that. Mike Francis, I say these because you should get an eye of the kind of men that we had, the young men we had here at Toledo during those years. 65, this country was in turmoil in 65. We were trying to, I know I was trying to just win basketball games and get a degree. And the riots were breaking out in Detroit. They're not called riots anymore. They're civil unrest, depends on who you talk to. But we were 18 and 19 years old, and so Craig and I and all the gentlemen who were at Carter Hall East, we had to try to get an education and try to win games and run track. Mike Francis, he's not here. He had a health issue. Our other brother, he's in North Carolina, but it was amazing because I had lost track of him and found out that he was in the Navy 37 years. Coming out of, you're talking about Toledo degrees, 37 years, and he's one of the first person to be in cryptology. You know, he was a good spy. He could figure out how to, you know, spy on people. And I said, Mike, you been doing that? He said, yeah, man, 37 years. So you filmed this. Mike told me to tell Craig to send a picture back to him, okay? And there are many other people I'd like to thank within the administration. Dr. Willie McCather was the Chief Diversity Officer and helped with the committee to select me for this honor. Former President Sharon Garber, she took part in that decision-making. Trustee Burdell Jackson, I said, and even I think Al Baker, for example, who, you know, I've known him and his brother Don. I really miss him, your brother Don, a lot. I mean, we were really, really close. And to see you as an African-American rise to the status of the chair of the trustees of the University of Toledo brings me great honor and brings tears to my eyes. So thank you so much for what you do. Outside the university, there are a host of people I'd like to thank as well. I'd like to say that he's probably not here, but Dave Briggs wrote an article supporting my nomination. Also, the local minority newspaper, black newspaper, the Sojourner, I believe. The publisher, Fletcher Ward, is here. Raise your hand, Fletcher. And Reverend Donald Perryman couldn't be here today, but they wrote a 3-part series on the story of John Rudley, Bob Miller, and University of Toledo, and Coach Nichols. And if you get time, you can read about that. And locally, Robert Smith is here. He has the Duke over here on the left. We call him the Duke. He also has the African American Museum. He runs that and does a great job. And he inducted me into the African American Hall of Fame for Toledoans. And I'm one of the first persons outside of Toledo that has been put into that Hall of Fame because of my close relationship with the community. I didn't realize the impact that I had and my team had on the African American community here in 1965 until I heard later on people say, I listened to your games every week. I mean, this is many, many years later, and I said, you did. And, you know, Dan was saying I was a star, and Mike was saying I was a star, but I never saw myself as a star. I mean, I really saw myself as a collection of young 18-year-old African-American athletes who came here to make a statement. And I must say to you, my opinion when I first came here was that Toledo was not on the map sports-wise. And so between Steve and myself, John Brisker, Miller, we said we're going to prove every damn body wrong. We're going to take over this conference. And we did that. We went 18-1, then we went 22-2 and went to the tournament. And I think we would have had many more successes if I guess life got in the way of things. But I just want to close by just thanking all these people and just basically say, well, who did I miss? As a president of the university, I always say, Dr. Rudley, don't ever list all the people that are at an event, because if you miss somebody, they'll get mad at you. And I always thought about that. I said, okay, tonight I'm going to say, who did I miss? If I didn't miss anybody, I'm in good shape. So I'll close with that and just say, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting me. I feel a part of the University of Toledo again. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Chris Wallace. Chris played quarterback for 4 seasons at Toledo and was the starter in 1997 and 98, leading the Rockets to division titles in both seasons. Chris helped put Toledo on the national map with an 8-0 start to 97 that saw the Rockets move up to number 18 in the AP poll. That year, he also earned second-team All-MAC honors and set school records in passing yardage, passes completed, passes attempted, and touchdown passes. His biggest game as a Rocket came in 1997 when he threw for 364 yards in a thrilling win over Miami, tossing the game-winning touchdown strike with just seconds remaining. As a senior, Chris was a co-captain, throwing for 2,476 yards and 17 touchdowns while leading the Rockets to their second straight division crown. He finished his career with 5,454 yards passing and 44 touchdowns in just 2 seasons as the starting signal caller. He went on to play 18 seasons of professional arena football, retiring following the 2018 season. Chris spent 8 seasons with the Florida Firecats, setting league records in career touchdowns and passes completed. He led the Florida Tarpoons to league titles in 2012 and 2013 and rejoined the team in 2015 until his retirement in 2018. Chris also served as a high school football coach and dean of students at the Florida Christian Institute in Fort Myers, Florida for 3 years. He now lives in Springfield, where he serves as the community mentor supervisor for the Springfield City School District. He also coaches football at his alma mater, Springfield High School, where he serves as the offensive coordinator. He helped lead the Wildcats to their first state semifinals appearances in 2019 and 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Wallace into the University of Toledo Varsity T Hall of Fame.
Hello, my fellow Rockets. I am Chris Wallace, and I apologize for not being in Toledo this evening. It breaks my heart. Tonight, instead, I am with my Springfield Wildcats, my high school alma mater, a group of 80 young men who play the game I have always loved. Tonight, I am coach. They trust me, and I trust them. They have learned from me, and I have learned from them. This is a special group of young men who are likely to go far in the postseason play, and while my heart is in 2 places this evening, my commitment to the youth in my community is the reason I get out of bed every day. Their success is what drives me, and I know my fellow Rockets will want me with these student athletes this evening. And don't worry, I am constantly recruiting for my Rockets every single day. I want to thank everyone on the Hall of Fame committee for the great honor of being inducted to this place in history. To say that I am proud would not be enough. Okay, so now, what is my favorite memory of being at the University of Toledo? Of course, beating those Bowling Green Falcons every single game. Go Rockets, beat Falcons. You know the slogan. But tomorrow afternoon, let's take care of those Broncos. In all seriousness, thank you to everyone at the University of Toledo for supporting me and contributing to a university in which we can be proud of, especially during a global pandemic. I wish for us an ever-growing enrollment of students who form a loyalty to the university and an alumni base who love the Rockets as much as I do. I look forward to joining my fellow inductees tomorrow in Toledo. But until then, you have a great evening. Enjoy it and go Rockets.
Our final inductee tonight is Inma Thanagara. Inma was a 3-time All-MAC honoree who played on teams that averaged 22 wins per season, won 1 MAC regular season championship, and 2 divisional crowns. As a senior, Inma earned first-team All-MAC honors, leading the Rockets in scoring, rebounding, and assists. She was selected as one of 30 NCAA women's basketball nominees for the 2014-15 Senior Class Award, only the second player in school history to make that list. As a junior, she averaged a team-best 14 points and 8.7 rebounds, earning second-team All-MAC. Inma was a third-team All-MAC pick as a sophomore averaging 10.2 points and 5.6 boards for a Rocket team that went 29-4 and won the MAC regular season championship title. She was named MAC West Division Player of the Week 6 times in her career. A two-time team captain, Inma earned her degree in communications and was twice named Academic All-MAC. After graduation, she played professional basketball in Italy. A native of Llucmajor, Spain, on the island of Majorca, Inma played for Spanish national teams from under 16 all the way up to the senior team. She was a three-time European Championship gold medalist, a bronze medalist with the 3-on-3 senior team in the 2015 European Olympics in Baku, Azerbaijan, and she was selected to the All-Europe Under-20 first team in 2013. Inma was featured in the 2018 documentary Running Home that chronicled her journey to the Western Sahara refugee camps in Algeria, where many Sahrawi people, including her mother, fled during a civil war in neighboring Morocco. While there, Inma ran and won the Sahara Marathon in her first ever attempt to run the 26-plus mile event. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Inma Thanaghera into the University of Toledo Varsity T Hall of Fame.
Hello, everyone. This is Inma. I want to begin my rounds of thank you in the name of God and in recognition of the fact that I wouldn't be here if it weren't for countless people that have supported me during my 4 years at Toledo and before and after, especially to my family. But before I say all of that, I just want to say that it's very sad for me that I can't be there. I'm still in the United States. I'm getting my doctorate degree in New York, but right now I'm in Spain and I couldn't make it back. But I will refrain from going one-to-one to everybody that I should thank you because it wouldn't end. But I do want to make special mention to all my teammates in general that I had throughout my 4 years. I have learned so much from each of them, and every year that goes by, I'm just in awe that we had what we had as a group, that we had the experiences that we had and that we could share them together. And of course, none of that will be possible if it weren't for our coaches, Coach Golub in particular. Coach Griggs was of great help for me and a great friend. Okay, I said I wouldn't say individual names because then I will forget many people. So I will stop there. But just if you in any way have been in contact with me throughout those 4 years, just know that I'm immensely grateful for you. All right, so in trying to understand what it means to be recognized in the Hall of Fame, I looked it up, and the Oxford Dictionary offered this definition of the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is an institution honoring the achievements of individuals in a particular activity or field. And I don't agree with this definition at all. For me, receiving this honor means to celebrate the community that surrounds the program, that surrounds the team. It means to celebrate a particular tradition in Toledo athletics, and it means to celebrate the family of the Toledo Rockets. So with that being said, I hope you guys are having a lot of fun. I wish I could be there, but please continue to encourage the spirit of family and community, because that's what stays with most of us even after we leave. Like, you forget details, you forget even achievements, but you always have that sense that you are part of a family and that you will always be part of that family. So thank you again to everyone. I wish I could be there, but hopefully I'm there in spirit. Go Rockets.
And accepting on behalf of Inma this evening is Coach Tricia Cullop. Second time we've had this happen, Coach. Your players get inaugurated and then you accept for them.
Well, I hope the next time they're here. She really desperately wanted to be here. I talked to her at 6 a.m. When you're talking to people from overseas, you've got to do it pretty early. And she expressed again how appreciative she is, and she wished she could be here in person.
This is more than a side story, but how did she get on your radar, number one? And then number two, you were telling me her recruiting process was very interesting and very expedited at the same time. Give us the bullet points.
Well, we found out about her kind of late, and we had a scholarship open. She's probably the only recruit in the history of the University of Toledo athletics that took her official visit the first day of class. And we got her back on a flight in time to meet at the embassy and then really quickly get her visa. On the way out the door, she waited for the postman to bribe him to get the visa so she could get back on a flight and meet the deadline so that she would make it in time to be a registered student athlete. You got to give it to her because that postmark was about to go to Majorca, which is an island off the coast of Spain. So it would have been several days she may have missed her deadline. So again, very, very, it just shows you who she is. I mean, she went to endless bounds to make sure everything could happen here.
That had to have set a very high bar before she really started in with the student-athlete experience. You knew what you were getting, it sounds like.
Well, I coached a kid that played 4 positions. She started out as a post player. She lost 30 pounds, became a point guard. First game she was a point guard. She had 10 assists, 1 turnover, and beat Virginia in a last-second shot. So incredible student-athlete, and was an incredible academician as well.
Rarefied air, but can you just talk about her presence on the court amongst her teammates? There's always that one or maybe a couple, if you get them in your career, you can say, wow, this is maybe a once-in-a-lifetime player. But what impact did she have on those around her?
One of the most competitive kids I've ever coached. Paid attention to detail, would run through the wall. If you ask her to do something, she spent endless amount of time working on it, so the next practice she was better at it. And that's why she was able to play so many positions. That's why not only did we beat Virginia that weekend, but we also beat Auburn in the next game. I mean, she was incredible. And there's no doubt in my mind why she went to the Sahara Desert and ended up winning her first marathon. That's just who she is.
Yeah, who doesn't do that, right? 26 miles in the middle of the desert for your first opportunity? Sure, why not? Anything else that you'd like to mention about her?
Just incredibly proud of her, and thank you for your patience tonight. We are so proud of all of you that have been inducted tonight, and thank you for honoring one of my players again. We're so proud of her, and we're so proud of all of you.
Brent, do the honors. There is a cross-section of support here, athletes supporting their fellow athletes, and I hope that really comes through here this evening. In closing, each year when we wrap up this event, there's always a common underlying foundation. Virtually nobody that we talk to, year after year, that comes up on the stage and accepts their award, well-deserved, was thinking about becoming a Hall of Famer. Usually when I talk to them, they almost always, to a person, talk about attending class, competing in their sport, being the best teammate that they could be. As time passes, history tends to be the best judge, and your efforts have led you here. As mentioned earlier, none of you stopped being Rockets just because you hung up your uniform. Tonight, we congratulate you all on your contributions, your successes, and in a more formal manner. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's University of Toledo Varsity T Hall of Fame inductees.